a world of uncertainty. And in this world, there is only one certainty, and that is God, the divine, the eternal. For life is change, and ever it is changing, and is most uncertain. And in these troublous times, there are wars and rumors of wars. As Russia seems to seek to expand its boundaries, as China seems to desire to limit democracy, as North and South Korea agree to come together on high levels for a summit, as ISIS rolls across the Middle East, as the Ebola epidemic seems to have a potential to become a pandemic. Everyone finds that they are living in a world of uncertainties, in a world of question marks, in a world without answers or resolutions to what appear to be the biggest of problems. In a world where financial inequality seems to be growing, where the rich seem to get richer and the poor seem to get poorer, yet is it possible that many of these things are but temporary illusions? Is it possible that what seems to be occurring may not be at all the reality? We told you long ago, if you would but have thought to listen, or looked at the words that we spoke and were written in the prophecies that were produced, that Russia would expand, would hold to part of its former glory. This is not something new. The newness is the breaking apart of that which is old and which is being held together in a way you would not suspect. Look at the work that we produced. Look at what was written, what we told you several years ago. You will find that some of the small countries are not listed separate, but as part of Russia. Do you think we did that without reason? Many people wonder why things are as they are. But in large part, things are as they are because people are greedy and selfish and do not put spiritual principles first. Think, for instance, of this outbreak of Ebola. How long has the industrialized part of the world exploited third world nations, keeping these nations in such poverty that they do not have proper sanitation or facilities, keeping them in such poverty that they do not have the infrastructure to fight disease or to educate the youth so they may become the doctors, the lawyers, the nurses, the political leaders that are needed, the engineers, the well-trained laborers that are needed to build a society. It is because of the exploitation that these countries now are not lifted up. For rich countries have sought to lift themselves up at the expense of poor countries, rather than reaching to lift up the poor countries and the impoverished peoples. Yet humanity is only as secure, is only as educated and happy and prepared for the disasters that can lay ahead as is the weakest link, the lowest part of humanity. So, if that part of humanity which is thriving and prospering fails to lift up other parts of humanity, those who are impoverished, those who are lacking education, those who see no hope, will become terrorists. They will become the evils such as ISIS. This is not something that just happened by accident in a few moments, but is something that happened over a huge span of time, because people continued to put their self-interest first. Do not think that we say one thing excuses another. Communism is a failed system. Sharia law, brought forth by the false prophet Muhammad, is and will remain a total failure. You see people at political conventions acting as if they are in a religious frenzy. And Muhammad was wise enough to realize this and to marry religion and politics in such a way as to use that frenzy and to give it religious trappings, to support his conquest. And it worked. And it has left a failed system. It has, without a doubt, created the same kind of problem that is being created today, because he sought, with a small band of marauders, bandits, thieves, to conquer people and steal from them. That is the same situation that we would tell you exists with the industrialized nations and the third world nations today. One is not better than the other, and one does not justify the other. A parent raises a child, and a parent makes mistakes, and the child may for a while be able to blame the parent for his or her actions. But there comes a point when the child matures and realizes that life is not fair and that he or she is responsible for the choices that are made. Society will hold that child responsible when it becomes an adult. And when a government or a religion becomes an adult, it too must be held responsible for the atrocities it creates. And there are many. We do not speak easy words. Some of you will say, "How dare you say that which is not politically correct? How dare you say that which is not accepted by everybody?" Well, everybody has accepted a whole lot of wrong ideas, wrong principles, and allowed them to manifest and grow into a cancer that is threatening humanity. That cannot be, should not be, will not be. God, the divine, the eternal, omnipotent, all-present, great architect of the universe, will not tolerate such any more than will nature or Mother Earth. And either mankind will correct that which is wrong, or it will be corrected by the divine, by God, moving through nature to swallow up and destroy the evils that have been created. The divine may move through man, but when man fails to allow the divine to move through him, then that which you would call evil or Satan may move through man, but it will also do the divine will, and then nature and the storms of the earth and the shaking of the bowels of the earth will open and destroy those who have done the same evils. So we have told you much, and we will be speaking to you much about these many evils. For we plan to talk to you in the future about pandemics, about disease, war and famine, about the inhumanity of humanity. But before we do that, let us say this to each one of you. You are responsible for your actions. You are responsible for your spiritual growth. And your actions and your spiritual growth contributes to the collective actions and spiritual growth of the little blue marble upon which you live. And the one place where safety from all of this can be found is within the self, when you would seek and meditate and thereby find the divine. For when one individual truly finds God and prays and meditates, it is as if the whole world prays and meditates. And for the sake of but the few, for but the sake of the elect, many disasters are yet to be averted. So therefore we tell you that your primary responsibility is to pray and to meditate. Evil in all of its forms, ignorance, disaster, disease, famine, war, evil in all of its forms is most certainly overcome by prayer and meditation. We leave you with blessings and with peace. Peace be with you today and always.